Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. Today we're joined by WashU Medicine patient Colin and WashU medical oncologist Armin Ghobadi. Thank you both for being here today. The topic today it's not an easy one. It's something that I think most people go through though, and that's side effects of treatment from cancer. I know that your main course of treatment was chemotherapy. Mine was also chemotherapy, and there's plenty of side effects that come with it.
Oh yeah.
Fortunately, Dr. Ghobadi would agree. I would hope that for as many side effects as there are, there's usually enough solutions to those side effects.
Exactly.
Colin, let's start with when you first felt like something was off and getting into diagnosis and treatment.
Yeah, so it was, I felt completely normal. Went to work every day, work outside, went on fire calls and everything. And one day I was working in my garage. Saturday, it was hot.
Yep.
And I was getting overworked. I thought I was getting overheated and I couldn't catch my breath. And it was odd. So I went inside and cooled off. And I was like, wow, I never lost my breath like that, never got overheated like that.
Did you think like, oh, maybe it's COVID or,
Yeah, I just thought it was just coming down with something, and then it wouldn't go away for a month. So I finally went to my new primary doctor. She goes, wow, I can't hear your lung down in your abdomen. Why don't you just run over to Memorial Hospital and get...
You live in Illinois.
Mm-hmm, Yep, and get a x-ray real quick. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And the x-ray technician came out like she just seen a ghost. So they were all shocked that I had this massive pleural effusion taking up my entire lung cavity. Came back negative for cancer cells in the pleural effusion, so that was a good sign. So then the next was to get a MRI. So we got an MRI. There was a large, it's called a bulky mass tumor under my breastbone, which is another incredibly common symptom with T-cell leukemia. And so they wanted to get a biopsy of that. Then we got the biopsy. I was supposed to go home that night or the following night. And they said, yeah, you're not leaving.
What about that surgery would tell doctors right away, we're not waiting for the results, we're admitting you?
So when you are thinking about acute lymphoblastic leukemia and lymphoma, those are type of cancers that they can progress quickly, especially when they are around heart. They can progress quickly around heart, and they can cause rhythm problem in the heart, and you can go to the rhythm problem that actually people can die of when you are at home.
Like it'll force arrhythmia?
Yeah, exactly.
Like her AFib or something?
Yeah, AFib or VTAC. And sometimes they just grow so fast and they divide so fast and they die and they divide, and that release toxin in our body that can clog up kidneys and then can cause kidney failure. So you try to keep basically you inpatient and give them IV fluid and washing your organs, washing the heart, making sure things are not going in a wrong direction while we are waiting for the diagnosis.
How can you tell when you just go in there and do the surgery right away that is that type of cancer?
So the story that Colin is saying is so typical.
It is.
Yes, exactly, for this type of cancer. And we are a referral center. The type of cancer that Colin had, we see in the United States just close to 1,000 cases per year. So
just 1,000 cases?
So it's not very common, but we see because we are a referral center, we see this frequently here, and it's typical for it to be in the chest, in the middle of the chest, and also causing pleural fluid accumulation, basically. So when you see this picture, we look at them and say, this should be T lymphoblastic leukemia lymphoma until proven otherwise.
So while there might only be 1,000 cases, all these cases look very similar. Yeah. So it's kind of easy to point out right away. Yeah.
I'm curious how that makes you feel, not to project, but I remember thinking like when I was diagnosed with cancer, you have this kind of lung cancer, this kind of mutation, therefore that treatment. Rare is not great, I know typically, but at least it sounds like they see it enough to where when they saw it with you, they went, okay, it's this, it's that, therefore that treatment. Like I took a little bit of solace knowing they were like, no, this is like literally textbook how we're going to treat you now.
Yeah, that's what I gathered as well. Like once they said, a T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and I looked up all those symptoms, it was reassurance. Okay, they hit it that quick. There's all these regimens that are proven and tested that they know of, and all right, let's just get to it,
Yeah, you don't want them going back in their office going...
Right. Or, darts on the wall. And,
right.
Yeah, we're not doing that. But Yeah, I mean, they knew the symptoms. It's like diagnosing a car. Certain models have certain problems that are super common on them, right? And every mechanic knows that. It's like, bring them in, I don't know, it's making this noise. Oh, well, it's probably this. And yep, it's broken. It's the same thing with doctors. You got all these things. Okay, it's probably this. We've seen this before. So
you love to work on cars. You are a volunteer firefighter, but you're also basically do like geological engeological
geotechnical field work.
Collect geological.
There's
geo stuff. You do geo stuff, but you're also a volunteer firefighter and you work on cars.
Yeah, that's my main hobbies. But
volunteer firefighting is a hobby to you. It's
a
brave one.
Working on cars.
Yes,
working on cars is my main hobby. Volunteer firefighting. My dad started back in 2002 when I was little, so I just kind of carried on with him.
Hence why you're wearing your shirt today, your firefighter
exactly.
shirt.
Very cool.
So I bring that up because you have a very, very active lifestyle. And we all, this episode is about side effects. We've done other episodes on the mental toll of a treatment. But did they tell you when they admitted you, okay, this is what we're going to do? Is it an immediate, if you say it's fast growing, it's immediate treatment?
Yes.
So what did you remember your doctors telling you?
Yeah, so that's another kind of a side effect that I've come to realize that has been brought up by my girlfriend. I really don't remember. It's hard for me to remember that time and a lot of times last year. I don't know if it's stress-induced or
Trauma.
just too much going on. But back then, yeah. So first couple of days, we're going to run. They were just doing labs and seeing what kind of regimen they want to start with and getting the right regimen down. And then I think it was probably a week that I was there before we administered the first chemo. And it was red.
This is the typical things that, based on my experience also I've seen, even when you go over the side effect, this is just a high stressful situation that your mind really usually wants to hear what you want to hear and maybe blocking some part of it because of the stress of the situation. Most people remember you talk about those, but 1 month, 2 months later, when you talk, it's blurry, basically what has happened at that time. But we go over the major side effects, and obviously when you are in a hospital, we see our patients every day. One of the major things that I've noticed, people knowing what to expect make it somehow easier. Obviously, the side effects are side effects, but if you expect that, when you explain that next week or next 5 to 7 days, you may have bad nausea or vomiting or maybe diarrhea and fatigue and those kind of things in the first couple of weeks, and then after that, gradually things are going to get better. When that expectation is there, then when those side effects are coming, make it somehow easier. Obviously, we treat them as much as we can. Because if you don't know, for example, on day 7 to 14 after chemotherapy, you can have really severe fatigue, and you can have diarrhea that can be bad, and those kind of things. When it's coming, it's just going to be you say, maybe something unusual happens to me.
Right.
This is something bad is happening to me. We explain that's coming. We know it's coming. We are prepared for it. We treat you. We give you medications, we give you fluid, and we're gonna go through this. We're gonna manage it.
So what were you experiencing?
First couple of weeks of induction phase, like when I was in the hospital, I physically felt fine. I felt like I did when I came in. All very good signs after the induction phase.
And induction is what, one of 3 phases? And so, I mean, that's promising results, but then you've got 2 more rounds to really kind of stomp it out, right?
Yeah, so the second phase is, the third phase is maintenance. The second phase is called...
You say the first month is induction, the first month. And then after that, ranging from 4 to 6 months, or some studies, some regimens can be even longer than that, is called consolidation and intensification.
Which means it's intensifying.
Yeah, you're intensifying, going after different part of a cancer. And then after that, you have a maintenance. So the 3 phases: induction, consolidation, intensification, and then maintenance. And the goal of induction is to put you in remission. The chance of going to remission, like 50 years ago for this cancer, was almost close to 0.
Wow.
Before the methotrexate was invented for pediatric ALL. and knows 80 to 90% of people go in remission.
In 50 years, it went from 0% to 80 to 90%.
80 to 90%, exactly.
Going at the right time.
Yeah, going
It's
to
the importance of clinical trials right there for you, right?
Exactly, and go into complete remission. So complete remission, it doesn't mean cure. That means is a disease is to the stage that we can't see it. When you look at your bone marrow under the microscope or we get the imaging, we don't see that mass anymore in the chest. Pleural effusion dries up, and we don't see that. And that means complete remission. And even when you are at that stage, you need to continue treatment because the relapse can happen.
Yeah, the intensification was definitely.
I was just going to ask.
Intense.
So I was going to say, so we should take a step back because intensification, that's probably when those symptoms really.
Tell people, I spent a month in a hospital to start, and like, oh, that must have been so bad. I was like, that was, other than being stuck in a room and going crazy, stir crazy, it didn't get bad until the intensification aspect. That's when the foot got put on the gas, and here we went away. I was getting chemo 4 to 5 days a week for, I don't know, like at least a month at a time.
So this induction phase was you were in the hospital for a month throughout the whole treatment, and then the ramping up phase, which I think you said can be anywhere from 3 to 6 months. How long was your phase 2?
Let's see. We started that in February of 2024, and then that didn't get over till
December.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was 10 months?
Exactly, 10 months. So that can be the case sometimes because we delay treatment sometimes. There are gaps between the treatments.
Because of side effects that make it...
Because of side effects. You have to wait for a count to recover before giving the next one. So, and it's interesting because you are young and you have been otherwise healthy, you could go through all of it because a fair number of people actually can't get all.
Yeah.
Maybe they get half of that.
Can't get all of those treatments
because of the side effects.
What was life like for you? Like, you must have just been a walking side effects.
Yeah, just progressively got more tired and lose weight. I mean, I lived on a cup of macaroni and cheese and tuna packet. That was what I ate every day. That's pretty much it for a while until I couldn't eat hot food. That came around September. Even the smell of hot food and cooked vegetables would just make me instantly nauseous. Fryer grease. Like I would drive past fast food places, and I would be able to smell their fryer grease coming out of their vents, and I would get instantly nauseous, almost about reach for my puke bag. But the vomiting didn't start immediately. It was probably a month after I got out of the hospital, and it just kind of hit one night.
And then did it just keep going?
Yep, just kept going. That just became a way of life.
Yeah. This episode we're talking about side effects. You had a long run. We've talked about some of them. Just hit me with the laundry list. Like, what's the craziest one you had? What's the, everyone gets nausea, you lose some hair. Like, everyone knows a little bit about chemo.
Sure. Yeah, so the hair loss, obviously normal. Loss of taste.
Yep.
You can't eat your favorite foods when you're in the worst shape of your life. You're going through, you just want your favorite foods.
A little comfort.
Yeah, and it doesn't taste the same. It actually tastes terrible. I was heightened sense of smell. You'd turn on tap water, and I could smell the chlorine in the tap water. It smelled like I would walk into an indoor pool.
It's wild.
Just an increased smell of just bad smells. Like
just very sensitive.
Just really sensitive to bad smells, not good smells. Like somebody's stinky feet, was just intensified 100. Like, what is going on? It was just, that happens. Let's see, another thing that people don't think about when you're down and out and you've been laying on the couch for a couple months, couple weeks, whatever, your body degrades, your muscles degrade.
Yep.
And then maybe you're having a week off of chemo and you feel good, you want to go out. And so I did our weekend shopping at Sam's where everything's sold in bulk and is heavy. And we have a whole big shopping cart full of heavy stuff, unload all that into the back of the car and get home and unload it again. So I just overworked my muscles that haven't been worked in months.
Yes.
And then the next day had excruciating back pain, muscle pain.
Yes.
Where again, had to go to the emergency room and they had to give me muscle relaxers and medication for that. And they wanted to admit me then too, just to make sure I was okay. And they gave me another MRI to make sure there wasn't an infection or anything. So these are just things that I didn't think of were going to happen, and maybe other people wouldn't. But yeah, if you don't use your muscles, which is going to happen, you're not going to want to go for walks or ride your bike or lift weights. It's just how it is.
It's like that movie trope where like the hero gets his powers taken away and he throws a punch and a guy just goes like that, and you're sitting there going, wait. What?
Right.
Yeah, you got nothing right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even open a pickle jar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes.
Were you able to work during that time?
I worked as much as I could. I was part-time during this time. I would work 20 hours a week tops, and it was mostly computer-based, home-based. I would do work on my computer that they would assign me. But yeah, definitely not any field work. Didn't go out in the field or anything. And if I did, I'd volunteer because I just wanted to get out. And it was like, okay, this is a lot harder. I was incredibly weak. I couldn't hardly walk up, the embankments on the side of the interstate without getting tired. At my worst, filling a bottle like this, I would get off my couch and walk to my fridge and try and fill a bottle this big. By the time it was filled, I was out of breath, tired. I felt like I wanted to vomit just from being exhausted like that. So it was, it got
hard. I mean,
it got hard,
hard.
in the middle, like this time last year, it was in the middle of summer, it was definitely tough. So
did you ever feel like quitting?
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Sure, you don't want to, but you don't want to continue, but you can't.
That just seems like a big mental and physical struggle to have to work yourself through every single day. How did you do it?
What helped me was when this all started, you're, like I mentioned, you want to be internet doctor, but I also stumbled across forums, like internet forums of people that also been diagnosed, and you read them and you say, they say the exact same thing. It's going to be tough for a really long time, but you're going to come out and you're going to feel just as good, if not better, than you did before, and it will pass, it will pass, it will pass. Just give it time. And so in the worst days, you just got to stay in there, and you got to trust these people and the doctors that are saying it's going to pass, and just look for that and just wake up every day and just get through that day. Sometimes I would have to sit on the couch and be like, okay, just get through these next 10 minutes. And then once I got through that 10 minutes, then I said, okay, you got through that last 10 minutes. Why don't you just get through the next 10 minutes? And then before long, you can do that over a couple hours, and you can fade off into sleep as much as you can.
And it's very tough, really, despite the fact that I see this all the time, and I know what's going to happen. And I never say, I completely know what you're explaining or go through it. You just have to go through it to understand. It's a very tough thing, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those combined. And it's going to be difficult to comprehend it really until you go through it yourself. But like the disease that we are dealing with in this situation is 100% deadly. That means if you don't treat it, 100% of people die of it. It's not like a cold that you wait and some people get better, some longer. If you don't treat it, 100% people die of it. So that's one path, basically. We are dealing with such a thing, and we're getting this treatment to basically get rid of a disease like this. And that's a side effect that maybe when you explain that's the goal, that's what we are achieving, that makes it somehow tolerable.
Yeah. We've said this multiple times on different episodes, but can you reiterate to people that might be listening the importance of advocating for yourself with symptoms, or when the doctors and nurses tell you to call them if you feel anything? How important is that, and how much do you feel like your team meant it when they said it?
Yeah, no, they definitely did. And I mean, I didn't call them all the time because of pride. You get your pride in your way. Oh, I'm fine. I can get through this. But that's what they're there for. They want to help you. They want to get your symptoms to be manageable so you can continue with your treatment and be more comfortable. And so if you have, the slightest headache or the slightest nausea, or you got a hangnail or whatever, just let them know, and they'll come up with a solution. They'll find, if they don't know the solution, then they'll call somebody that will know the solution. And you just got to advocate for yourself that way. Now, I, again, kind of hypocritical, didn't always do that. My girlfriend will tell you that.
But if everyone's not complaining about the symptoms that they're having, how can the team work on new treatments or new types of things to help treat those symptoms if they don't know about them, right? Like, isn't it really important for just your research and your continued pursuit to make symptoms less? Isn't that so crucial to that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Knowing, first of all, those symptoms, sometimes the minor symptoms can be the early sign of something nefarious actually going on. And second, we look at those side effects. Because all those side effects we document in a chart, and we look at those side effects. That's what we know right now for this specific regimen. That's what we expect because of the shared knowledge of how we have experienced and seen those side effects.
Yeah, the importance of like frequent, open, transparent communication is super important because there's so many things that they could be looking down the road at that we would never have any clue. But I mean, I always had a little bit of fear of like, if I'm shooting off too many flares about my side effects, I might get pulled from this treatment. And I ended up going on a clinical trial and stuff. So it's like, you want to fly under the radar, but also you're probably in the long run just kind of hurting yourself by not, chiming in with stuff. But
Right.
These are, very human mistakes and understandable mistakes, but nonetheless, I can't express how, to echo what we've all been saying is how important it is to just speak up if something is off, ask questions, whatever, because more often than not, you're going to end up in a better situation if they can prescribe something or do something for you.
Exactly.
Dr. Ghobadi, before I ask you this next question, I want to play some of our past podcast interviews to hear some of the other side effects that many of our guests went through when they were going through their cancer treatment.
I started to experience some side effects. I started to notice, the hair loss, and not on my head and other places, but my chest and my stomach, right, and under my arms. And then I started to experience some severe pain in my left hip. So much so that, I contacted, Dr. Hall and Scott, and they were like, yep, it could attack some vulnerable places in your body. So if you've had an injury or something else, it could attack that. And I have osteoarthritis.
I see.
And so it attacked that, and I couldn't walk upright. I had to lean over forward, and my wife was like, you look like you're 90 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Just doubled over.
I just, I couldn't do it. And I'm still working on the range of motion on my left hip.
I guess I'll just share. I had terrible diarrhea. It was brutal. I couldn't eat usually the first week or two of the 3 weeks. And then by week 3, I finally felt better and could eat. But then it would start all over again when I would get chemo that Monday morning. So I lost a lot of weight. I met with a nutritionist. I was put on Ensure. I couldn't keep weight on. And it was also just hard having young kids and having that as a symptom. I couldn't go far. I couldn't get in the car. If it was I'd say long drive, I couldn't go more than 20 minutes. Just not knowing what was going to happen. And I can't remember which drug of the 4 that I was on, but it was that was a sure symptom.
First couple weeks I was fine, but probably after between the second and third chemo, the wheels started to fall off the cart. I was like getting really super tired, and then I did not want to eat at all. I was just I didn't have the taste because of the radiation. I started to go away, so I lost a lot of my taste. And again, there was still some swelling from the surgery, so swallowing was a little bit of an issue. And then it got to be like, nothing tasted good. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want anything in my mouth. So it was everything I put in my mouth was all force fed.
I don't think you hear a lot of people talk much about infertility in relation to cancer. You must have a large population of your patients that you have to worry about their infertility when you're treating them.
If they wouldn't have, pushed us to go talk to them and get that ball rolling, because at that moment, all you can think of is the big C word, you don't think about the next year or two, what you're going to want your life to be like, so like, thank you to them for pushing us to do that, you know, as overwhelming as it is, it's, you know, like it's the best thing that we could have done at that time.
So I was about 3 rounds deep and feeling absolutely terrible, puking, everything. There was no quality of life, in my opinion. It just felt horrible. And I was sick of everybody telling me what I had to do. I just got tired of, like, I don't know, it just felt like everyone else had control over what I was doing. And it was just kind of a breakout of that. Like, I'm not going. And I didn't go that day. And then that night, I was laying in bed, and this is after I told my mom I wasn't doing it anymore. I told Drew I wasn't doing any more chemo. I heard Drew crying downstairs, and it just broke my heart. And it just made me think, like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Like, you have 3 kids. Here's Drew, your parents. But it was that miserable. I felt that miserable. So I got up and went the next day.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's what it'll do to you. And that's another thing, like, you know,
yeah,
when you don't know, you can't until you go through it.
Right.
How much it can break you.
It absolutely breaks you.
Yeah.
That was my friend Larissa, who was one of our very first guests on this podcast. And she describes, you know, just not wanting to continue because it was really difficult. She had a very similar regimen to Colin. How do you help patients? Do you ever have patients come to you, and whatever the regimen is, it might not even be this one. They might be older. There might be lots of other extenuating circumstances. They can't take the time off work. Every patient is so different. How do you help motivate them and keep them fighting? And how do you say it's okay if you can't handle these symptoms anymore?
So that's a great question. And as an oncologist, actually, we see this all the time, because the side effect can be sometimes serious. And there are a couple of things that I go over. One, before starting the treatment, I go over those expected side effects that, you know, those are the things that we expect sometimes. And despite all of that, because sometimes they are so serious and we cannot manage it in outpatient, and you come to the inpatient, even in outpatient, we have this discussion. This is just too much for me. I don't want to go through this. I don't want to continue this. So we go over the big picture things. I go over the big picture thing again. So if you continue this, that's the goal that we have. We can manage this. We can control it to the extent that we can. But the goal is after 3 months, after 6 months, we get rid of this cancer forever. That's the reason that we are doing this. We push it back significantly. And we try to bring the end of the tunnel, basically light, telling that that's what we expect at the end of it. And that's give them some comfort to continue. And in rare situation is the side effects to the extent that we have to think about changing the treatment. Then I have an honest discussion, and I say, we are given this is a higher intensity treatment. You have a higher chance of being cured. You have higher chance of side effect, higher chance of this and that side effect, but higher chance of being cured. If this is really too much and you can't tolerate it after all the discussions, then we say, what about this alternative path that we have? This is a next treatment option that we have. It's going to be less side effect, but probably it's going to be less chance of being cured. So that's a compromise that we have. And then we have that basically shared decision making.
And also, I want to bring up that this is not, everybody has different cancer treatments depending on their cancer. This is the treatment for Colin's particular form of this rare leukemia, but there are often times with many different cancer patients, whatever their diagnosis is, choices in how they want to treat that based on their lifestyle, based on their age, based on where they live or who they care for. It's patient-centered care.
Absolutely. We always make that decision together. For each specific type of cancer, we have this is the best treatment option that we have for this age. And this is option number 1. This is what we expect. And if we don't do this, this is going to be option number 2. And this is what we expect. And this is going to be option number 2, number 3. At least we go over 2 or 3 options and no treatment was going to happen. And then we make that decision together.
And back to your point about your friend, she didn't want to get out of bed and said, I don't want to do this anymore. That is going to happen. That is to be expected. I mean, I went through that one weekend, just could not stop vomiting and went to the ER and, just had a little bit of a breakdown there in the ER. And I just I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
I want to stop vomiting every 10 minutes. I want to be able to eat my food. I want to be able to walk down the street. But, they gave me a little break after that to get my numbers back up, make me feel a little bit better. But then we just continued on. But it's to be expected, and don't feel bad if you feel that way or feel less of a person or whatever. It's normal, and it's going to happen.
And it might happen more than once.
Yeah.
I think that's so important to hear for people too. You hear, I've said this before in this podcast, you see all these Facebook pages or these GoFundMes, somebody's, cancer strong or somebody's strong, we're going to fight this. And some people that day, you had that bad day, my friend had that bad day, might not feel like a fighter that day, but they'll feel that maybe the next couple days. But you just having that break probably and being able to go to the ER and getting your body physically feeling a little bit better probably made you mentally feel a little bit better, because the mental side effects are probably just as...
The mental side effects are definitely less talked about than the physical ones, yeah.
Yep.
So, I would definitely... I know you guys had an episode about it recently, so...
the mental toll of it.
I would definitely recommend people to go listen to that one. But yeah, the just being cooped up in your house or the hospital room, but mainly your house, and not being able to live an active lifestyle, or, I couldn't even walk out to the end of my driveway without getting tired. I couldn't stand up for more than 5 minutes without getting nauseous. Just being cooped up. When I first got out of the hospital, I couldn't even, I had so much brain fog from the medication that I couldn't drive. So I had to rely on other people to drive me. And so I was stuck. And, you can only do so much. It doesn't sound so bad to most people. Oh, you just hang out at home, play video games all day, watch Netflix. Not really. That only works for so long, and sometimes you feel so terrible that you don't even want to do those things. You don't even want to play video games because that even takes effort to sit there and concentrate on stuff. And you don't feel like that when you're just having the worst pain. So
yeah, every little phase of a chore is a challenge. I got to get up. I got to take the blanket off. Then I'm going to be freezing. Then I got to walk over there, and there's stairs. Every little part of it it becomes like a voyage just to, go heat up something at the microwave or whatever. We've talked about how there were some medications and stuff like that you would use to counteract side effects, some more effective than others, but what outside of, those medications and medical interventions got you through this? Like your support system, you've mentioned your girlfriend. Did you have, close friends or parents, relatives, anybody like that help you throughout all this?
Like you said, my girlfriend was obviously the biggest one. We lived together, and without her, I definitely could not have done any of this. Cooked all my meals for me when I could eat them.
What's her name?
Brittany.
Brittany.
Yes.
Nice work,
She's
Brittany.
a RN nurse, actually.
Oh
man.
Wow.
She's a surgical room nurse, yeah.
Was she tough on you?
Yeah, she got mad when I didn't take my medicine.
Good.
Guess who else is married to a surgical room nurse?
Yes, I'm also married to a nurse.
Yes. She gets mad when I don't take my medicine correctly, and she would, when we would go out, she would, all right, it's been 4 hours, take this pill every
Stay
4 hours.
ahead of it.
Yeah, and then she, pushed me to be more independent with that and take care of myself, and I kind of failed at that, and that, upset her. So I would advise trying to figure out your medications and do it yourself and take them regularly. You can do that. Don't mess up the way I did.
Don't piss off your girlfriend.
Yeah. So, and just be thankful that somebody's, still there to take care of you and do all that for you, because they're working their jobs and going through all this with you. It takes a toll on them, a massive toll on them as well. Nobody ever really thinks of that as well.
Dr. Ghobadi, we were talking about this before the recording, advances in how we treat things. What are some things that that are coming down the pipe for this type of a leukemia and treating it with not chemo, but maybe an immunotherapy?
The one that I'm very excited about is the one that I actually developed here at WashU by a scientist named Matt Cooper, Dr. Matt Cooper, and Dr. John DiPerzio lab here developed the immunotherapy called WCAR-T007.
CAR-T007.
Yeah, that's so.
Is that incidental, or is that
Matt is from UK, so that's the reason that actually we call it 007. So, and as the target is a CD7. I'm gonna come back to this, but a little bit about the CAR-T for people maybe listening to this and they don't know about CAR-T. So, in patients with cancer, we have an immune system that basically help us to get rid of bad things. And we develop cancer cells in our body all the time, and they get rid of them. Basically, find our fighting cells, they find them as bad and get rid of them. But when the cancer cells learn that they can hide from our immune system, then they can survive in our body and cause actually cancer. So those cancer cells that you had over there, your immune system cannot see them as bad.
They see them as just part of our immune system.
Exactly. And we call it cancer immune evasion or camouflaging, basically. Your normal T cells, the type of cancer that you had, T cells, some of them converted to cancerous cells. But your normal T cells, remaining T cells, they are seeing them as friendly. So how we go around this is one of the main ways to go around this is changing the T cells the way that they can see the cancer cells as bad again. And that platform is called CAR-T. Basically, the one that are approved, 7 of them that they are approved, they are from patients' own T cells, basically, that we take them out, isolate, and make the CAR-T. But that cannot be used in a scenario like T-cell leukemia lymphoma.
Colin would need a donor.
So that one, for a disease like this, for a cancer like this, we need to have a donor T cells to make a CAR-T cells. So this treatment is exciting because it's actually given us the option in a scenario that we don't have real good options. And we have actually used this in the setting of a clinical trial. This is just published, so out there you can look at it. It's called WCAR-T007. It's published in Blood recently, Blood Journal.
Blood Journal is the CAR-T007.
Yes, exactly. And the result was very exciting. If you use a standard chemotherapy, the chance of response to chemotherapy, as I said, is like 20-25%. And this trial response rate was 90%, 90.
Wow.
And the chance of going to complete remission is very low. And going to complete remission, that was close to 70%. So that's way better than what you expect as a standard of care.
And so this is what the future is looking like for treating a cancer similar to what Colin had.
If you are hopefully this is cured, in your case, because you are more than 1 year out, there is more than 80% chance that you are cured. But that for the patients that they have a disease like this, that they don't respond when you start that induction because 20% of the time doesn't work. Or when it's working, there's a chance that can come back. When it's coming back or it's not working initially, then we don't have that many good options.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest way for me to learn is usually to try to repeat it back. So if you can humor me, it's, I understand, I think, the basics of CAR T cell therapy. My father had melanoma and was engaged in CAR T cell therapy, but didn't survive to benefit from the treatment. But what you're doing is basically taking blood out. I don't know if it's necessarily through a centrifuge, but you extract T cells, which are the soldiers of the white blood cells in the blood. You then extracting the T cells and then applying a bioengineered receptor to it, and then putting it back in the body, and that receptor allows the T cell, the soldier of the white blood cell, to then go attack cancer cells that have trained themselves to hide from your immune system. Now, in addition to that, there is a new clinical study that someone in Colin's case could benefit from in the near future, which is that if you cannot pull healthy T cells, you can also genetically modify a donor's T cell by removing a receptor that would have in the past led to graft versus host disease. So you're not only adding a genetic modifier to find that cancer, you're also removing the switch that would make it attack the body of the donor.
Exactly.
Incredible.
That has to be very exciting for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially when we are dealing with a situation that we don't have good options. So I have this option that I can offer you.
Right. And I think that's one thing we always try and mention on this podcast is the importance of being treated at a center that has the type of research capabilities that that Siteman Cancer has with connected to WashU Medicine and the clinical trials. And you guys are like 5 standards ahead getting, it's really, really awesome. And what type of researchers and people that work at WashU all to help, fight this terrible disease and make outcomes better. And
yes, absolutely. That's what makes working here exciting, really, because you see a problem and you work hard on it with an exciting group of people to solve a problem, to solve a bad problem. And that makes it very exciting.
What got you into this line of work, Dr. Ghobadi? Why are you at the forefront of all of these clinical trials and research?
Yeah, it's interesting that you're asking this. I grew up actually in a rural area in west of Iran in the mountainous. And my father was a farmer and a forest ranger, never went to a school. And my mom's housewife, basically. We didn't have tap water, electricity, nothing like that. It was small. It was beautiful, it was just a rural area, the farm. But that was during Iran and Iraq war, and I was a kid. So it was this kid from a local close-by city that they were bombarded. The city was bombarded, and then there was a refugee to our rural area because that was not attacked by Air Force of the Iraqi Air Force. So become my friend. His name was Saeed, and actually I just called his mom 3 weeks ago. I was constantly crying over the phone. So he was diagnosed with leukemia when we was close friends when we were in elementary school because I stayed there for 2 years. And then he was diagnosed with leukemia and died of it. That was one of the main motivation to go after, choose this path, basically. Obviously, when I went to a medical school, and I always actually knew about WashU, even when I was in Iran, I knew about this place. Then when I did my fellowship, when I came here, we were working with John DiPerzio. So John DiPerzio was and is right now, even I consider his friend and a mentor. So he's an amazing, amazing person. So I worked in his lab, and that's one of the first things that I did, working on a CAR-T, actually. And working on CAR-T for AML, and I've never been in the lab, so actually
you were working on a CAR-T for AML, which is the type of leukemia that took your friend's life.
Exactly.
And you were talking to, what was your friend's name?
Saeed.
Saeed.
So when he passed away, then their parents actually went to a capital of our province. So it wasn't that phone or cell phone at that time. So we're never in touch. So I always thought that if I go and visit them, they're gonna be, remind them of basically bringing that memory back. So I never went back to actually visit them. And after basically, how many years? Should be more than 30 years. More than 30 years, and I finally got the phone, and I called the mom.
And this was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like 3-4 weeks ago, exactly.
And you talked to her for the first time.
First time after that event. So he was crying over the phone, and they knew obviously what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I would talk to them more about what I'm doing and those kind of things.
That must have been such a gift for his mom to hear you say what you were doing to help other people. Yeah. Well, now that's just going to make me cry. That's an amazing. Beautiful. That's a beautiful story. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to name one of these our T cells Saeed or something like that. Give him a name. Give him a name, right?
That's the most badass story.
That's a beautiful story. I know.
Your friend passed away, so you went and killed the cancer.
Exactly. Exactly. And how old was he when he passed away?
I was in, I think, 4th grade or 5th grade, something like that.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
What a good friend that it stuck with you that much that it literally motivated your entire career and now this breakthrough treatment.
Exactly. I was very good at math, so I was teaching him math and he was teaching me how to draw. So.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's a wonderful, wonderful story. You'll have to keep her updated on all these CAR T cell.
Absolutely.
All these updates. That's a wonderful story. That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Colin, do you still feel like when you talk about the side effects, it's still difficult for you, or do you feel like as time goes by, from especially that middle phase, that you're coming back together? Is the cloudiness going away? How are you as each week, month kind of goes on?
Well, yeah, each week, month that goes on, you feel significantly better. I mean, when I went back to work full time, I thought I was 1,000 times better than I was, because I felt, but I could not lift what I used to be able to, could not walk as far as, and that was just a couple of months ago. And now I'm leaps and bounds better than that. And this is the best I felt, since the beginning of all this. I almost feel as good as before this all started. The goal is to get up today and then get up the next day.
Yep.
And to continue on, because it will eventually subside. It'll feel like forever, but it will eventually subside, and time is the healer of everything. And as time passes, things will get better. You just got to be patient, and that is hard for a lot of people I know. But even in my case, it's been a year and a half, which is a long time, but in the real scheme of things, it's not, especially if you have been diagnosed with a rare cancer that 50 years ago you were dead.
Right.
You can take a year and a half off of that to get better and to continue on.
Well, Colin, thank you again for coming and sharing your story. And Dr. Ghobadi, thank you for coming and for all that you do for patients like Colin. It's a pleasure having you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to This is Cancer.
Brought to you by Siteman Cancer Center at Barnes Jewish Hospital and Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis.
National leaders in cancer.
For more information on Siteman Cancer Center, go to siteman.wustl.edu and be sure to leave us a review and like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.